Hello, I'm Sonny Perdue, a 1971 graduate of the College of Veterinary Medicine at the University of Georgia, and a 1967 initiate into AGHON, a very proud organization of which I was honored to be included and developed friendships and fellowships there that have lasted a lifetime. I enjoyed it, enjoyed the camaraderie that we could have on South Campus, and it brought a great honor to the people who were there and included on South Campus. So it's a great organization. I almost at the midpoint, it's 100 years old, and I was there right almost in the middle. So it's a great group, and I'm glad to be here today.
Hello, I'm Gary Black, Commissioner of Agriculture for the state of Georgia. When I think back of my experience of coming through AGHON as a neophyte in the spring of 1980, there's so many fond memories, but if I had to sum it all up, AGHON's really been a foundation for relationships. It's a foundation to where we kind of build upon the future for, looking at our heritage for agriculture, which is so important. Building upon those, not just our neophyte class, but those who've come before us. I remember seeing those names on those copper plates on the monument, and first of all being awed by that, but then in 5 and 10 years throughout the first parts of my career to actually be able to work with some of those folks and build those relationships moving forward. So it's about a strong past, but it's about a bright future too.
AGHON, the second oldest organization on the campus of the University of Georgia, was founded in 1920 by these 6 students seeking to recognize students on campus with outstanding leadership and character and a passion for agriculture. AGHON also seeks to award honorary membership to leaders with these same characteristics who have made an impact in some field of agriculture. Students in the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, the Warnell School of Forestry and Natural Resources, the College of Veterinary Medicine, and the College of Engineering are nominated and selected by their peers to participate in a semester-long commitment to enhance their understanding and appreciation of the University of Georgia and agriculture history. Based on the strong foundation layer by the founders and early initiates, AGHON has produced many leaders in academia, government, and industry. In the 1922 AGHON class, O.C. Adderhold went on to become UGA president, presiding for 17 years over growth and organization in all 3 of the university's missions: teaching, research, and service. From the 1929 class, J.W. Fanning was named the university's first vice president for public service. His name and institute is synonymous with developing leaders of all ages in every community from all walks of life.
Standing on the north side of Connor Hall now, which is the home of the College of Agricultural and Environmental Sciences, it was renovated in the early 1970s. The building was stripped down to the walls. All of the wood and everything taken out of this old 1912 building was pulled out. One of our AGHON members, Mitch Flinchum, had a crazy idea. He said, I'm going to take all the wood out of the building, and they built something called Flinchum's Folly out on the river at Whitehall. That became a meeting place for the School of Forest Resources and Ag meetings and AGHON meetings. Later that building burned and they rebuilt it as Flinchum's Phoenix. So AGHON members have always been innovative in things that they've done.
One of the great things about AGHON, I think now, is that it is the only organization that ties together most of the colleges and schools on South Campus. We don't have that kind of connection anymore between students. We started here and we became 4 colleges and schools, and now AGHON represents all of those 4, and we have great buy-in from all of those 4 colleges and schools and great alumni all across the state and the nation from those schools.
When we created the College of Engineering here at the University of Georgia, students from that college were also added to the AGHON student list of outstanding students from that school as well.
So AGHON becomes the only connective tissue, if you will, that we have on South Campus. We're standing here in front of the rock on South Campus, which all student initiates in AGHON knows about. It's in front of the Lumpkin House, which was given to the University of Georgia by Governor Lumpkin. The interesting thing is the Lumpkin House has to stay here. It's been offices for AGHON, and it is the meeting place for AGHON. It has to be because student clubs have to be able to meet in the Lumpkin House as per the deed from the Lumpkin family.
If the Lumpkin House was not here, if it was torn down, then this land would revert to the family as the deed said. So they have to maintain this Lumpkin House, and they must maintain it with some student activities in the Lumpkin House.
Certainly, one of the keys to the longevity of AGHON, that we're able to celebrate our 100th plus birthday, is how AGHON has changed with the student population, the alumni base, but based on the solid foundation laid by the founders, people like Hastings, early members like O.C. Etterhold, J.W. Fanning, and take the best from those and the leadership ideals and carry them over to our current students and honoraries. And what that means is for the student neophytes is a total immersion a semester immersion into the histories of all of the colleges, connecting all of those college leaders and school leaders from across South Campus into a gathering of all the history of their colleges and of AGHON. So that's been the base of AGHON, I think, and why AGHON has been so strong in producing alumni, honoraries that are leaders in their communities, leaders in government, leaders in policy across the nation, and leaders in agribusiness and ag and natural resources.
I was very honored to become a part of AGHON in 1961. It helped develop me throughout my career. Meeting people, having the opportunity to do leadership work, participate on campus meant so much.
Hey y'all, my name is Laura Beth Bland, and I was a neophyte in the spring of 2021. To me, AGHON is a community and a bond that can never be broken. I think this is the case because our roots not only stretch wide, but they also run deep all throughout the state and the nation, and then also within our communities back home.
I believe AGHON has been around for 100 years, has lasted for 100 years because of the connections and the foundation of relationships that spread across the state and our nation to make our state and our nation the best it can be.
My name is Bob Isler. I was an AGHON neophyte in the fall of 1971. What I treasure the most about AGHON in looking backward to the folks who came before me and then looking to the classes that came after me is how well over 100 years AGHON has never failed to identify fantastic leaders in agriculture. Those who have gone on in agriculture, in forestry, in veterinary medicine, in engineering, which comprise the 4 colleges that we represent now on this campus. The students that AGHON has turned out have become fantastic leaders in all of those areas and then well beyond, because that has set the stage for them to learn leadership, to learn teamwork, and to learn about the value of connections going all the way back to the very small group of founders in 1920 to the present day. And to understand all of those things as well as the connections that they establish, and people who come before you in AGHON want you to be successful. And they want to know you. They want you to be a part of their team as much as you should want them to be a part of your team.
But I began to realize as a student that there were many before I came along in AGHON. And I did a little research and found out right away that one that meant so much to me, that gave me guidance, was a gentleman by the name of Dr. J.W. Fanning. He headed the Department of Agriculture and Economics at that time, and I was fortunate for him to take me under his wing, gave me my first job on campus for 75 cents an hour. But I watched him and his leadership and how he conducted himself, and he was certainly a role model for the rest of my life. He moved on to become Vice President of Services for the University of Georgia and took a major leadership role there. In fact, the J.W. Fanning Institute for Leadership Development is a major thing here on campus.
Hello, I'm Bill Flatt, class of 1973. I came to the University of Georgia in 1969 as head of the Animal and Dairy Science Department, and they inducted me into AGHON, which was the most outstanding leadership organization on the campus. And as a result of that, I've seen many really outstanding leaders that have become members of AGHON. Not only that, but I was here early enough that one of the members of the initial class of 1920 was still here and coming to the AGHON annual meetings.
When I think about AGHON, I think about leadership. And I think it's lasted so long because of some of the great people that have been picked, and the sincerity and the devotion they've taken to agriculture, and the general purpose of doing something for other people. And I think that's why AGHON has lasted so long.
I'm Chip Blaylock, AGHON neophyte, fall of 1986. Now, two words that come to mind when I think of AGHON are brotherhood and history. The brotherhood and sisterhood that I experienced with my pledge class and all of the neophytes and honoraries are what makes AGHON truly special. Our passion for agriculture is what has allowed AGHON to thrive for 100 years.
When I was inducted into AGHON in the late 80s, it was still very new for women to be inducted into AGHON. We were still doing a lot of the traditional activities, and so it was a lot of mystery, a lot of excitement. And at that point, I was incredibly honored to be held among some of the people that I most respected that I was in school with and that had come before me in school. At the time, I think what I originally took away from AGHON was the fact that I learned so much history about the University of Georgia and the state of Georgia and agriculture in general that I did not know before, and also the close relationship with the class that I went through AGHON with.
Well, when I was initiated into AGHON in 1967, this was the icon here, obviously, in a much more civilized society. I'm sure AGHON members don't use this any longer, but nonetheless, I've kept this all these years, for 55 years here, that reminds me of the honor that I considered it to be included in AGHON and initiated in this great AGHON society. It includes the president of the university, Dr. Fred Davidson at that time, the dean of the agricultural school, Dean Jones, and my great counselor, Dr. Robert Wheeler, who advised me of how to get into veterinary school within 2 years, of which I was very grateful. But lifelong friends here, some that have gone on to do wonderful things there. These are wonderful memories here that I've maintained over the years, and obviously I guess it's like a lot of things. Its bark was a lot worse than its bite, so we just use that as a great symbol of discipline and perseverance that it takes to be a good member of our agricultural community around the world. So that's a great story about AGHON. Actually, my daughter-in-law has her paddle on the wall as well. We work together at home, and she has her paddle proudly hanging on the wall as well.
Our heritage is very important to me. The history of agriculture, the the strong role we played in the economy and our national security, all of those things that I think all of us really believe are important foundational principles. But I think that that heritage is even more important today. The fact that we live in a 140 character world, we live in a soundbite world where we're trying to solve complex things very quickly, and it's very difficult. We've got to get back to those things that matter. And so I hope all of us, each class has gone by, and those classes that'll come after this celebration, you continue to build upon a real strong past that gives an anchor for this industry and for this college and future generations. I think that's one of the greatest legacies of AGHON of the past, and it's something that we've got to defend and defend that moving forward, and take it a challenge on all of us to preserve this for future generations.
I got into a lot of different organizations in campus. They had what they call a senior round table, a junior round table, the Alpha Zeta and the Phi Kappa Phi. I made all of those during the period, but none of them did what AGHON did. AGHON emphasized that you ought to leadership, helping people to do things which they ought to be doing for themselves. Don't go out there and try to do the job for people, but do it to help them do it. And after all is said and done, when they've done it for themselves, they say, well, now, look, we did this for ourselves. And that's the strength of America.
And the sons of Georgia rising, pledge the sacred vow. Alma mater thee will honor, true and loyal be. Ever crowned with praise and glory, Georgia, hail to